Hi, Rustico. Could I get a sound check, please?
Hi, Wayne. We can hear you.
Oh, thanks, Evangel. Do we have any members of the public with us today? I believe there's a couple.
Yes, we do. We have a couple of residents wishing to speak on item number 3.
Okay, thank you very much.
And you can sit at least 2 seats. You're only able to do the presentation. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for? You wish to speak to the item, or you just want? Okay.
To number 3.
Number 3. Yes. Perfect. We're trying to.
No, I appreciate you're doing what you can. It is what it is. I'm impressed you're able to go on with it. That's actually
Well, we're
impressive.
a nap generator. That's what the state does.
I could go home and get our generator.
There you go, right?
It's a great.
Hi, Evangel. I've got 3:30 on the clock. Are we good to begin?
We're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Development Permit Panel meeting for Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. On the panel today, we have myself, Wayne Craig, General Manager, Planning and Development, Todd Gross, Director, Parks Operations, I believe, and Lloyd B., Director of Transportation. We also have staff joining us from the Development Applications Division to help support today's agenda. Director of Development Josh Reese, Andy Norton, Ashley Kwan. Sure, I may have missed somebody else. In terms of the panel deals with items of form and character, things such as architecture, landscaping, lighting, etc. The panel does not deal with items such as land use or density, as those are established through the rezoning process, which is a council approval process. In terms of today's agenda. The order of business for each item will be a presentation from the applicant, followed by staff comments. There will be an opportunity for panel members to ask any questions of staff or the applicant, followed by an opportunity for any members of the public who wish to provide comments to the panel, or we will also read any written submissions into the record. Of note is that when items do proceed to council for their consideration following the panel meetings, those items are non-delegable. So it is important that should you wish to make your views on a project known, that today is your opportunity to do so. I'll just also add that unfortunately today we're dealing with a bit of a power disruption, so hopefully things will go smoothly. With that, I'll turn our attention to today's agenda. The first item on today's agenda is a motion to adopt the minutes of the Development Permit Panel meeting held on November 13th of 2025. Lloyd or Todd, may I have a motion?
Move.
Lloyd, second. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Thank you. Those minutes are adopted. The first item on today's agenda is Development Permit Panel, or Development Permit number 23-031545. The applicant is Carson Lee. The property address is 8680 Alexandra Road. The recommendation before the panel today is that a development permit be issued which would permit the subdivision of 8680 Alexandra Road into 2 lots and permit the construction of 2 commercial buildings on proposed Lot B on a site zoned auto-oriented commercial CA. And there are 2 variances associated with this application. The first being to reduce the minimum interior side yard setback from 3 meters to 1.5 meters, and to reduce the minimum rear yard setback, that being the south setback, from 3 meters to 2 meters. Carson or somebody from the project group, happy to receive your presentation. Please introduce yourself, name and address for the record, and then you can go ahead and share screen and provide us with your presentation.
Hi, my name is Patrick Yang from Pacific West Architecture. I'm the architect of this project. I will do the presentation first for the architecture part.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will share my screen.
We can see your presentation, so if you can go ahead and maximize.
Okay, yeah, so this development includes 2 buildings with a total of 14 commercial units. We have worked closely with the city staff to address key urban design issues, ensuring the development aligns with the city's applicable standards and guidelines. The site is a double-fronted lot facing Alexandra Road to the north and Art Bridge Way to the south. The site is currently vacant and located in a C zone. Given the property's frontage on both Alexandra Road and Art Bridge Way, 2 buildings have been proposed. This configuration promotes architectural variety, enriches commercial opportunities, and create welcoming urban streetscape along both streets. The vehicle entrance is from Alexandra Road. 14 parking spaces have been provided, including 2 accessible stores. 22 parking spaces will be equipped with level 2 EV charging. 1 loading space is positioned between building 1 and 2, adjacent to the garbage area. To enhance the pedestrian connectivity and accessibility, a 3-meter wide pedestrian path has been proposed between Lot A and B, connecting Alexandra Road and Outbridge Way. This safe, connected pedestrian path ensures convenient public circulation. A 1.5 right-of-way will be registered on both Lot A and B. Building 1 is a two-story building with 12 commercial units. Waste recycling and mechanical rooms are proposed at the south end of the building. The building has street front facing Alexandra Road with a strong architectural expression by using large windows, doors, and canopies. The proposed design states a modern Pacific Coast architectural expression. It incorporates significant horizontal articulations, along with variations in color, texture, and materials to create an attractive and engaging building. On the upper level, an outdoor corridor and an amenity terrace at the south end of the building have been proposed. It helps to create natural surveillance for the driveway and the surface parking area below. Elements such as outdoor corridors, canopies, and roof projections enhance the horizontal interest across the linear facade. The design of the west building elevation provides a safe and nice pedestrian experience. Large windows and well-positioned doors, together with continuous canopies for weather protection, will increase transparency and visual connectivity between the pedestrian path and the commercial units. Building 2 is a one-story building with 2 units. Building 2 provides a continuous storefront facade. The large windows and glazed doors, combined with canopies and roof projection, create a strong horizontal expression. The overall design emphasizes small-scale commercial activity with a focus on creating a pedestrian-friendly environment. Architecturally, the sustainability measures have been included in this project by using high-performance building envelopes, LED lighting, and optimized HVAC system. Mechanical design allows the connection to the city's central district energy utility. Water and energy conservation features, including low-flow plumbing systems, will be used in the project. The project also will provide roughing for future rooftop solar panels as an alternative energy source for future tenants. The selection of exterior finishes emphasize the enhanced durability while adopting a sustainable approach. Colors and materials are organized to achieve harmony and connectivity throughout the buildings. Building finish comprises a mix of architectural composite panels. Colors focus on warm gray and light tones. Each floor composite panels have a smooth finish below and corrugated finishes above to add texture and improve street-level articulation. We believe this development will bring values and benefits to the public and the city. In the next, the landscape architect will present the landscape part of the design.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ethan. I'm from Homing Landscape Architecture. Thank you for your time to join the presentation today. There are 4 items to be discussed in the landscape presentation. The first item is the existing tree management. As you can tell from the screen, there are 2 trees on the neighbors' properties are proposed to be removed per the suggestions of our arborist. Also, the trees along the elder bridgeways will be removed due to the conflict with the future city sidewalk. In order to provide enough replacement trees, the overall landscape design has maximized the tree planting opportunities for the overall site. Next page, please, Patrick. I believe the overall landscape design has proposed a total 15 replacement trees on site. Next page, please, Patrick. The second landscape design ideas is trying to create a pedestrian-friendly environment for the users. As you can tell from the landscape set plan, pedestrian circulation paths are provided around the building 1 and the building 2. Meanwhile, a pedestrian path is proposed along the west property line as well to connect the Elder Bridgeway and the Alexandra Road. For the pedestrian circulations in the parking lot, we used stamped asphalt paving to highlight the pedestrian circulations to make sure that we create a safe pedestrian environment in the parking lot as well. Next page, please. The third landscape design ideas is to use a lot of native and drought-tolerant plant species in the overall landscape design. As you can tell from the plant list on the left page of these screens, a lot of native species has been used based on their sun and shade conditions on site. We're trying to create an environmentally friendly and also landscapes that benefit the local ecology as well. Next page, please, Patrick. Next one. The last landscape design ideas is to create a safe place for people to use at night. So the overall landscape design, lighting design, try to use the dark sky design principles to reduce the lighting pollutions to the neighbor as well. As you can tell, there are 4 types of landscape lightings are proposed on site, and there are no uplight to be used on the project. For the parking lot areas, we will mainly use the parking lot pull down light with a shield to provide enough light for the parking lot. For the circulation paths around the buildings and also along the west property lines, we propose to use a bowler light and a wall-mounted downlight to provide lightings for the pedestrians. So the overall landscape lighting design intend to create a safe environment at night for people to use. Next page, please. So we do have considered some landscaping materials. Next page. Thanks, Patrick. For example, we have used permeable pavers for some parking areas. We also use 4 feet high metal picket fence along both west and east property line to make sure that you can see through and to create a safe environment for the users on site. This is the overall landscape presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. If that concludes your presentation, you can stop sharing screen. Josh, any staff comments?
Yes, a few comments, Mr. Chair. As indicated by the applicant in their thorough presentation, a 3-meter wide SRW providing pedestrian right of passage between Alexandra and Alderbridge Way is proposed. The buildings have also been designed to address this walkway area as another active frontage to the building. The buildings are located within the city center district energy utility area and have been designed to connect to the city center DEU once connection is available. There is road dedication associated with the proposed development along Alderbridge Way, and there is an SA required, servicing agreement required at the time of subdivision that will include frontage works, including a multi-use path and boulevard, together with utility and servicing connections. That concludes staff comments.
Thank you. Lloyd, Todd, any questions for staff or the applicant?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a couple, if I can go first. I was wondering, there's quite a few trees along the front of it, and I think I read in the package that maybe they're no, not great trees and stuff. But what I was wondering is the replacement trees along the front, will it kind of mimic what's in other places? Like when we look on Alexandra, we look on the roadway and there's a number of street trees on the opposite blocks and things. I was just wondering if these trees will match those. And along Alder Bridge, what will that look like? As we go along, we see that a bunch of those trees in the front looks like they'll disappear. And, further to the west, certainly there is a row of trees. So will these things all match, or will they be different, or how will that look?
Maybe I will start off, and then the applicant and the landscape architect can jump in. But so the trees that are currently located along the Alder Bridgeway frontage were identified by the project arborist and confirmed by staff to be in poor condition. Those trees ultimately do conflict with other required frontage improvement works that include the aforementioned multi-use path and boulevard. As part of the servicing agreement process, staff will work to ensure that there is appropriate tree planting included as part of the boulevard and frontage improvement works. In terms of the species proposed on-site and how they would work with the proposed planting along the Alder Bridgeway street frontage, the applicant can speak to the proposed species that are located on-site. Patrick?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I can add a little bit more information about the existing trees along Alder Bridgeway. So the main reason to remove these trees is due to the conflict with proposed future city's walkway. Meanwhile, we do provide a 1.5 meters planting boulevard right along the driveway, Alder Bridgeway, and there are a few street trees are proposed there. Regarding the species of the street trees, we will finalize the species with the city during the service agreement application to make sure that these trees will retain a healthy and good conditions over time.
Right. And then beyond that, like I noticed we have a new MUP and stuff along Alder Bridgeway. I noticed there was quite a lot of lighting shown on the property itself, but was lighting on the MUP actually a consideration? And if so, were there any improvements proposed?
I believe the lighting along the Alder Bridgeway, the street light, will be considered in the service agreement application later by our engineers and after working with the city staff on that.
Lloyd, any additional questions?
No, I think I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Todd?
Through the chair, I just have a comment. Given the history of the site and the limited development that has been on there, should there be soil removal requirements, I would suggest reaching out to the city, our Park Services Department, who may be interested in utilizing some of that soil at our adjacent Garden City land site.
Thanks for that. I'm sure that our planning staff can liaise with the applicant with respect to that. I do have a couple questions myself. In terms of mechanical units, are there any rooftop mechanical units expected as part of the redevelopment? And
for this project, for this project, we already discussed with the mechanical engineer regarding the mechanical room space and the rooftop unit space. We already provide the rooftop units on the roof of the mechanical room based on their current calculation. Yeah, so these space are enough without additional rooftop units on the other piece of roofs, but it will depend on the future detailed design in the BP phase. In the BP phase, if any additional rooftop units required, we will keep it very low profile and will locate it in the middle of the roof if it's required.
Okay, thank you for that. And Josh, perhaps if you could just comment. I believe the intention here is that the Alderbridge frontage improvements would extend along the entire property frontage, not just the easterly lot which is being developed at this time. There is currently no sidewalk, I believe, along this section of Alderbridge.
That's correct. As part of the subject application, the frontage along both lots would be included as part of the servicing works.
All right, thank you for that. Evangel or Josh, do we have any written correspondence or any members of the public that wish to address the panel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are no correspondences and there are no presenters here in the chambers.
All right, that brings us to panel deliberation. We do have a recommendation from staff that the development permit be issued. Todd, Lloyd, anyone?
I guess at the end of the day, I would just like that, as we consider the street trees on Alexandra Road, they somehow match the trees that are across the road there. And I would certainly, like to instruct staff to make sure that lighting for the MUP on Alderbridge Way be considered as part of the SA process. I'm positive that those things will be considered as part of the servicing agreement. I believe it will be Todd's team that will be looking at the street trees as part of that servicing agreement design. So I believe we have assurance that that will happen. Anybody willing to move the staff recommendation? I'll move it.
Second.
All right, just before I call the question, I do appreciate the attention to detail on the project. I do believe that the frontage improvements along the Alderbridge side, as well as the pedestrian walkway connecting Alexandra to Alderbridge, will provide long-term city benefit and support our goals in terms of promoting alternative modes of transportation. With that, I'll call the question on the staff recommendation. All those in favor? All right, thank you very much for your presentation. Your application has been endorsed by the panel. It will proceed to council for consideration once all the prior two conditions have been addressed. That brings us to the next item on today's agenda. And bear with me, sorry, the next item on today's agenda is development permit number 23-033716. The property address is 9000 number 3 Road. The staff recommendation is that a development permit be issued which would permit the construction of a mixed-use commercial and rental apartment building at 9000 number 3 Road on a site zone commercial mixed use ZMU 61 number 3 Road and Francis Broadmoor. I'll turn it over to the applicant's group. If you could introduce yourself, name and address for the record, and then you can go ahead and share screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Steve Watt, architect AIBC, from Integra Architecture, address 2330 200 Granville Street in Vancouver. I'm joined today by Michael Patterson from Perry & Associates Landscape Architects, and we also have Christina Kovacs from the Panach Group, the owner-developer of the project. And I can go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you can see that, and then I'll get started. So the site occupies a prominent corner location at number 3 in Francis Road. It's a former gas station site. It's flanked by townhouse projects on the east and south sides and a low-rise commercial development across the street to the west. The site has a number of constraints that have limited or influenced our design. It is contaminated land, and obviously there's a high water table being in Richmond. This limits our excavation options. We don't have a lane, which limits access and servicing opportunities. We have an SRW on the east side, which is limiting our buildable envelope and tree planting opportunities. We're also respecting the 2-meter road dedication and 2 meters setback on the west and north, a 5-meter corner cut, all of which compresses the buildable envelope. On-site garbage collection is obviously a challenge as well, restricting our turning and operational movements, all of which has heavily influenced our back-of-house design. Level 1 site plan. Our design strategy basically allocate all the commercial to the principal public street fronts, try and connect it all to maximize flexibility. And then we have the residential lobby on Francis further to the east. Parking forms the balance of the remainder of the site and accommodates the garbage storage and collection requirements. We've got 2 parkade entries, which we've located as far from the intersection as possible. On level 2, we've added additional parking to meet the needs of the development and makes use of the 2 possible entries, one for the lower level, one for the upper level. We looked at an internal ramp, but that works out to be completely impractical given the space requirements. To accommodate the garbage collection, the building needs to be stretched vertically, which in turn increases the commercial and residential lobby height. Level 3, which is the podium level on top of the parking and the commercial units. This is where the residential units begin. Levels 3 through 6, to respect the lower density and height of the neighbouring townhouses and to mitigate privacy and overlook concerns, the residential hugs the north and west property lines and is pushed in from the east and south to maximise the setback to the existing buildings. This in turn creates an outdoor space opportunity on the southeast corner of the parking podium on this level for the common outdoor amenity. It's an ideal location that takes full advantage of sun for much of the year. The space is also overlooked by about half of the units in the building, providing natural surveillance, which will encourage use and a sense of community. It includes a children's play area, urban gardening, and social gathering spaces, which Michael will touch on a bit further later. For the size of the project and contribution to the community, it was decided more rental units were a better use of the space rather than a provision of an indoor amenity space. To the elevations, the east and the south elevations show the above grade parkade, which is this sheet. This will be painted concrete with reveal pattern and a regular pattern of black aluminum louvers. We did consider an open parkade, but felt this solution on screen offers more privacy and less light pollution and annoyance to the adjacent neighbours. The intent is for trailing plants to soften the top and for climbing plants to green these walls over time. With the east and south aspect, this should be successful. We have a brick podium base proposed for the commercial frontage on the 2 public street fronts with tall storefront glazing and a continuous glass canopy. The brick will have some nuance to it with some recessed areas to better express the commercial frontages. So the architectural expression we're aiming for is a very modern, clean form approach with few simple materials. And we're trying to create a simple grid pattern of openings in a field material on a contrasting base to anchor the project and describe the transition of uses. Balconies are considered cozy private nooks clad inside with wood tone fiber cement material. This adds color and warmth under the overall skin of the building. We've worked hard to avoid side-by-side balconies to improve the livability and privacy. Materiality and form are purposefully simple, the design strength is in its simplicity. The streetscapes, you can see more clearly the podium relationship in scale to the adjacent buildings and the increased setbacks on levels 3 through 6. On the right, on the top, you see the step down of the townhouses to 2 stories, which was a requirement in the zoning on arterial roads. It was adjacent to a gas station, so I don't think there was any need to do that other than making the elevation symmetrical. On the east, we've provided 7.1 meters between the townhouse and parkade and 11.6 basically from townhouse to the apartment building. On the south side, we've provided 7.9 meters between the townhouse and parkade and 14.26 meters from the townhouse to the apartment building. These measurements are to the side yard conditions. There are 2 townhouse buildings where there is a rear setback condition, and those setbacks are exceeded even larger. Various measures are proposed to reduce potential conflicts between pedestrians and traffic entering and exiting the parking, particularly the upper parking. This includes contrasting colored drive aisle signage and convex mirrors. They're obviously right in, right out as well. In section, you can see the impact of accommodating the garbage truck, driving the overheight parkade and commercial space, some of which we've been into with parking and bike storage on level 2. Water table and contaminated site restrictions combined with functional drive aisle slopes prevent us doing a deeper excavation. This forces the building upwards. On the upper right, you can see the interface with the adjacent townhouses. This is a backyard condition. On the lower left, you can see the relationship to the other townhouses. The setbacks proposed to be heavily landscaped and a new fence installed on the property line. This is also a backyard condition with the face of building approximately 8.6 off the parquet wall. The renderings. So these are general wide views of the public realm interface, illustrating the clean massing and architectural expression. And you can see some of the brick recesses reinforcing the storefront elements of the commercial face. Top left view here is the lobby rendering. Shows the brick podium, tall commercial windows, continuous canopy. Bottom right, the Francis number 3 corner shows the activated corner, commercial space, and continuous canopy. Note that the canopy does not wrap the corner. This was a city direction. They wouldn't accept a setback relaxation in this location. Next page would be the servicing plan, which shows how it was a challenge, but we managed to make all this work with the full turnaround for the garbage truck, and we have a extra height area for the overhead tipping maneuver. I'll now pass to Michael for the landscape presentation.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah. So this is the ground floor plan, and you can see that we've got an urban streetscape along both Francis Road and number 3 Road, and we've articulated the CRU units with a planter separating the CRU units, and we've also provided the Class B parking. Similarly, on Francis Road, we've done the same with the CRU, and then you can see that the entry lobby is sort of a little bit more separated or clearly established through a slight change in grade. So we have a few steps up to the entry lobby and or a 5% sloping ramp, and then a little bit more landscape to articulate that entry. Along the east side, I think Steve already mentioned there's an SRW, and so we're not able to get trees or sort of permanent landscape installed along the east side. So we have a 6-foot height removable wood fence and pavers on grade, and then planting. On the south side, we are able to get trees. So we have 8 trees planted and then an understory of shrubs. So we have kind of a layered planting edge along that south side. And again, we have a 6-foot high solid wood fence. Next slide, please. The roof deck provides amenities for the adjacent units. So the units that have frontage on that courtyard are able to have patios that link out directly to the courtyard space, which just helps to keep that space animated and provide good overlook for safety and security. And as Steve mentioned, of course, the building units above look down on this space. We've provided children's play, community gardens, social outdoor dining, so a number of activities for the residents in the building. We have landscape planting around the edge to buffer that edge and views up. And then we've provided, as you can see, a number of trees at this level as well to help provide shade during the summertime and sort of, again, provide that layered planting scheme. Next slide, please. There are a number of existing trees on the site. The trees on the east side are in conflict with the SRW and with the proposed building. You can see the dark green trees are the trees on the neighboring site. They're smaller trees, and they are not conflicting with this construction site, and they are to be retained. And then the trees along the south edge are being removed, and we're replacing them. You can see on that we have a replacement list, so we've got 23 new trees that are going in. Next slide, please. The site will be lit for nighttime use. We'll be using dark sky compliant fixtures and making sure that the ground plane is illuminated, and then there will of course be building lighting to supplement along the street edge. Next slide. And then we have lighting for the outdoor amenities so that this can be used into the evening hours as well. Next slide. We're providing a variety of plants, a variety of trees and shrubs. We do have vines that are specified to grow up the building face, both on the east and the south side. And then we have, as Steve mentioned, we have plants on the upper level that are meant to sort of come over the edge and soften the edge. Next slide. And then similar, this is our plant list for the roof deck. Again, a variety of plants providing seasonal interest. We really want to make sure that the planting is inviting and looking fresh and green through the seasons, and is of a lower maintenance type of planting, so easily maintained by the strata. Next slide. These are some sections through the site. So we have the commercial frontage on number 3 road at the top left, showing the bike racks, the sidewalk, and the street trees that we're able to get along that edge. Section 2 is in the statutory right-of-way and shows the fence, the pathway, and the plant material and vines growing up the wall. And then the one at the far right is the south building edge, where it's a similar condition, except with the addition of trees. And then on the lower left, we have a section through the podium. We are providing ample soil depths for the trees, and you can see that in the depths of soil provided in these sections. And lastly, the lower one on the right is through the amenity area, showing the playground and the sort of social seating and community garden area. Next slide. These are just some precedent images. You can see in the middle on the left is the proposed playground, and below that is kind of that community. We've since changed the picnic table to be an accessible picnic table. And then in the middle, you can see the urban garden areas and just a variety of kind of the plants that we've specified for the project. that's the conclusion of the landscape presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. If we have time, we do have a short 3D video that seem to have lost my share button. There we go. Okay, that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Josh, any staff comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The proposed development is a 6-story building with 64 rental units, 7 which were secured as moderate market rental units at the time of the rezoning application. All required replacement trees are being provided on site, and an on-site irrigation system to ensure that the trees are adequately irrigated has been provided. 100% of the units on site will meet the city's basic universal housing requirements. In addition, there is a servicing agreement associated with the rezoning application, at which time we secured frontage improvements along both road frontages, as well as intersection upgrades, new traffic signal cabinets, storm upgrades, and sanitary and water connections. That concludes staff comments.
Thank you. Todd, Lloyd, any questions for the applicant or staff?
Through the chair, I just have one landscape comment. On level 3, I noted that there is a Styrax japonicus tree identified close proximity to the playground, and given that they are prone to heavy seed and leaf drop, I would suggest replacing that with an alternate species.
Michael, do you want to comment on that?
No, it's correct. They do have provide they're sort of little seed pods, rather beautiful seed pods, I might add. But that's something that we would consider switching. Yes, for sure.
All right. Perhaps before we get to a recommendation, we may provide that direction to staff to work with you to look at an alternative species. Lloyd?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, given that there's kind of 2 parking arrangements with 2 separate entrances, and one appears to be for residents and the other for the commercial and garbage and things like that, I'm wondering, how people are going to figure that out, what the signage looks like from the street, and how that all gets sorted out.
We did allow for sort of public parking sign to be added to the face of the building just at that Francis entry, primarily for the commercial, the public parking, which is also the visitor parking for the resident units. There is a pocket of private stalls at that level too, but they'll more than likely be assigned. I mean, Panache Group can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's how I was figuring it would probably work. And then the upper level is fully assigned to the residential units.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of wondering, how people visiting the building would know that. Would there be signage saying no visitor parking or no commercial parking or residents only? Or because I guess what I would foresee happening here potentially is people, trying to go to one of the shops or something like that, and if they're new to the building, not knowing exactly which place they can park in, and maybe going into the residential parking.
I think, this is Christina speaking with Panage Group. I think the simplest solution would be to provide a large signage over the residents-only parking, which clearly is visible from the street, which says resident parking only. We can very easily accommodate that on the structure. And it's a good suggestion, I think.
All right, thank you for that, Christina. I think we'll see about adding that direction as well before we get to a motion, perhaps. Lloyd, any additional questions?
No, I'm good, Mr. Chair.
I have a couple questions actually related to the parking as well. Specifically in terms of the commercial parking and wayfinding to the commercial retail units, and specifically what the access, is there an accessible access path from the parkade to these commercial retail units?
Steve, perhaps you can answer that with the image if you have the site plan still.
So let me bring it up again. So all of the CRU spaces there is an accessible corridor in the back, primarily to provide convenient access to the garbage spaces. For the public, they would, there are stairs in this exit corridor, so that's not an accessible path, but they can exit via the open driveway, which is 5% slope. Residents or visitors to the residence would use the vestibule and the elevator, which is double fronted, which would take them up to the relevant floor they're visiting.
Okay, thanks for that information. I think I'll be asking with panel support for there to be a further look at an accessible pathway, given the stairs and any safety concerns around routing people with mobility issues up the drive aisle to get to the CRUs. Alternatively, if there was some way for those, any accessible users of those CRUs to access the rear, but I'm imagining that those are more intended for service areas. Similarly, if you could just comment on any measures for vehicles exiting those two parkades, just in terms of being aware of pedestrians that would be using the sidewalk.
So from the Francis entry, we don't have any. We don't have any mirrors or anything there, as we're imagining that would be a much lower speed entry exit. Visibility is really good eastwards as you exit, and it's decent to the west as well, because we do allow some space between where the effective enclosure of the parkade is and where the sidewalk is. So you're going to be almost at the sidewalk with full visibility through your side windows. On the second level, we are providing a rumble strip and convex mirror at the approach to the sidewalk.
All right.
Strips, obviously, to control the speed of exit.
Thank you. Evangel, any public correspondence or any members of the public wishing to address the panel today?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are no speakers here in chambers, but we did receive a couple of correspondences from the public. Planning staff have responded to these correspondences. The first one was expressing concern about traffic safety and congestion along the intersection of number 3 Road and Francis Road. And the second correspondence was expressing concern about the consultation process with residents.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just to further elaborate on Mr. Bison's response. So the first piece of correspondence from Ken and Arlene Glynn, staff have responded. The traffic concerns related to the intersection improvements at Francis and number 3 Road. As part of the rezoning application, there was a detailed traffic impact assessment that considered all traffic anticipated from the development. It was at that time indicated that the traffic was not anticipated to have a significant impact. As part of the servicing and frontage works, there are required intersection signal improvements, including a new signal box as well. And that is to help with the left turn traffic from both the north and south intersection approaches. The second piece of correspondence is from Chris Jensen. Staff again have responded to Mr. Jensen's concerns, and staff have received correspondence from the applicant indicating that the developer has worked with the neighboring strata and that the proposed improvements along the east property line include a new 1.8 meter tall fence, as well as landscaping and vines along the eastern elevation in order to soften the interface to the existing townhouse development to the east.
And Josh, just along that last point, is there an irrigation system to feed those vines to ensure that they do thrive?
I'd have to look at the plans, so just give me a moment, but Michael, if you happen to know that offhand?
Yes, there is an automatic irrigation system for both at grade and on the roof deck planting.
All right, thank you very much. I think that brings us to panel deliberation. Maybe just before we get there, I did record that we had 3 items for staff to follow up with prior to this application being forwarded to council for their consideration. One was to review the tree species in the outdoor amenity area. The second to look at ensuring there is a safe, clearly defined, accessible pathway from the commercial parking area to the CRUs, and the resident-only parkade signage at the entry. May I ask that the panel agree with those directions? I see some heads nodding, so with that, it would be, there is a staff recommendation to issue the development permit subject to follow up with staff and the applicant on those 3 items. I'm happy to start it off on this one. I would like to just thank the applicant for their efforts in terms of accessibility. I do note that 100% of the apartment units are intended to be basic universal housing. I think that is a wonderful thing. And then also the inclusion of the rent-controlled units is also appreciated in achieving some of the city's affordable housing goals. Lloyd, Todd, any additional comments?
I have no
further to add.
All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Your application's been endorsed. It will proceed to council for consideration once the prior 2 conditions have been addressed and the additional work with staff. That brings us to the last item on today's panel agenda. That is development permit 25-010558. The applicant is the Fougere Architect, Inc. The property location is 8620, 8640, and 8660 Spires Road. The recommendation is that a development permit be issued which would permit the construction of of a 6-story residential apartment building containing 90 rental units at 8620, 8640, and 8660 Spires Road on a site zoned low to mid-rise rental apartment ZLR 49 Spires Road, Brighouse Village of City Center. Wayne?
Thank you, Wayne. Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Fougere. I am the architect for the Lansdowne Manor development before you this afternoon. Ewan Ruan from Landscape Architect from PMG Landscape Architects will also be presenting with me. We're going to share our screen. Just give me 1 second. Thank you. This development is located within the Spires Road area of Richmond. In recent years, the area started to transform from predominantly single-family neighborhood to a high-density townhouse neighborhood, with a couple of projects constructed or under construction west of our site. In July 2022, Council approved a rental tenure policy that dramatically increased the potential for rental housing in the Spires Road area. The original 1.2 maximum FAR for multifamily developments in the area was rescinded. In its place, new developments now require a minimum FAR of 2.0 and permit a maximum of 3.0 FAR. The first 1.2 FAR is permitted to be strata or market rental. 50% of all additional density must be developed as lemur housing, with the remaining permitted as market rental. Based on this policy, our project is being developed as a 100% rental building. This 3-lot consolidation is a net area of 2334 square meters, and on it we're proposing 90 homes in a 6-story building consisting of 5 stories of wood frame construction over a non-combustible ground floor. 68 of the homes will be market rental, and 22 homes will be affordable rental housing. The development has a density of 2.73 FAR. There are 27 parking spaces including a car share and 2 accessible parking stalls. Transportation demand management measures include a transit pass program, provisions of a car share facility, and a small-sized loading space. The ground floor is positioned centrally on the site with the pedestrian and vehicle entrance off Spires Road. The parkade and service rooms are screened by a centrally located entrance lobby, an indoor amenity space, and 4 ground-oriented units facing the street. The vehicle access is provided at the east side of the building. There are walkways on the east, west, and south yards that provide exiting from the building and access to several service and bike rooms. All on-site walkways are at least 1.6 meters wide and have a maximum slope of 5%. The building above the ground floor is a U-shaped building and oriented to the south to maximize sunlight penetration for homes facing the podium courtyard. The top 2 stories have increased setbacks along the east, west, and south yards. All homes have basic universal housing features and are designed to, in accordance with Section 4.16 of Richmond's zoning bylaw. Aging in place features will be provided for all homes. The indoor amenities are located on the 1st, 2nd, and 6th floors. There are 5 amenity rooms, including the 44 square meter gym near the entrance lobby, the 51 square meter multi-purpose room that has access to the podium open space on level 2, a 42 square meter guest suite on level 2, a 12 square meter shared workspace, and a 12 meter conference room on level 6. Common outdoor spaces are located on the podium and roof levels. And now Ewan will talk about the outdoor space and programming in detail. Ewan?
Thanks, Wayne. In terms of the landscape along the road frontage, which is the north property line, our goal is to create a streetscape that feels attractive, welcoming, and friendly for the pedestrian. We have used layered landscaping, such as canopy trees, street trees, and low-maintenance shrubs to bring the seasonal interest and the soft edge between the sidewalk and the building. At the main entrance, we have added a bike parking and a seating area. This not only provide convenience, but also give the pedestrian residents and visitors a comfortable place to interact. On the both sides, west and east of the property, landscape buffer has been added to provide the privacy, soften the building edges, and create a smooth transition to the neighbor properties. At the back of the building, a walkway connects to these two sides of the walkways, forming a continuous loop for the pedestrian to walk around the site. We have also worked closely with our arborist to preserve as many existing trees as we can along this the property edge, using the permeable paver in the tree protection zone. Next slide, please. On the podium level, the amenity space is sit right in the center of the courtyard. This space is mainly for the adults with an open lawn area, and the lounge seating, a picnic table, and the chess tables. The unit around are separated by the 3-foot-high raised planters, which contain the shade trees and the layer of the shrub. These not only provide the privacy and also create the lush green landscape area on this podium level. Next slide, please. The roof amenity area is designed primarily for the children, but we also include some lounge seatings for the adults. So the layout is divided into support different age groups, ensuring safe and age-appropriately the play while giving parents clear sight lines to look after kids. So the one on the west side is for the age year 5 to 12, and the one on the east side is for the age 0 to 5. Planters and small ornamental trees are provided to enhance the aesthetics on the roof. So overall, we are providing 22 replacement trees with hundreds of drought-tolerant plants. Automatic irrigation will be provided to all the landscape. That's all for landscape. I will return the presentation to Wayne.
Thank you, Ewan. The design will meet a Step 3 and EL2 energy target. The building will connect to the district energy utility when it's available. The servicing strategy for this site is DEU ready approach, ensuring the building remains fully compatible with the city center district energy utility for heating and cooling when off-site systems are developed in the future. The building has a 4-story brown base that acts as a street wall. The upper 2 stories have a white finish. These lighter top stories with the additional setback reduce the overall mass on the east, west, and south elevations. The first floor north elevation provides the street fronting homes with a different character from the rest of the development and provides a distinct podium base for the upper floors. The interplay of different materials and colors help emphasize the variety and articulation in the built form. To improve the relation with neighboring buildings, the top 2 stories have increased setbacks along the east, west, and south yards. The framed entrance and ground floor amenity room are grouped together in a contrasting color and material to create a variety and to define the building entrance. Lansdowne Manor will provide much needed homes located close to the city center and its amenity. This concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have, and I'm sorry we don't have a 3D model to show you.
Thank you, Wayne. Josh, staff comments?
A few comments, if I may. The project provides, as outlined by the architect and applicant, that there will be 22 affordable housing units provided on site as part of the development, meeting the city's low end of market rental program requirements. The subject site is located within the provincially designated transit-oriented areas. As such, the residential parking is not required. The applicant has proposed a total of 22 stalls, as well as a significant transportation demand management package that includes transit pass programs, car share parking stall, as well as 140 class 1 bicycle parking located on site. There is a extensive servicing agreement required as part of that was secured as part of the rezoning application for the design and construction of road and engineering improvement works along the property frontage, together with the utility connections for water mains, storm, and sanitary sewers. That concludes staff comments.
Thanks, Josh. Lloyd, Todd, any questions for the applicant or staff?
Through the chair, I have one comment in relation to the landscape on the rooftop. I would suggest changing the 5 to 12 musical play components to a more standardized playground components, as our experience has been the sound carries significantly and could become an issue with the existing or the new property owners and adjacent property owners.
Ewan or Wayne, do you want to comment on that?
I see no reason why we couldn't accommodate that.
Okay, we'll perhaps provide that direction to work with staff on an alternative prior to considering the motion. Any additional comments, Todd, or over to you, Lloyd?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just looking at the drawing and I was wondering, because it looks like the car share spaces are outside of the lock gate. Is that correct? Or are they available to, people outside of a lock gate?
The location of the car share outside of the lock gate was a requirement of the city.
Yeah, great. Thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Thanks. Just a couple questions, and Josh, maybe I'll let you start with this one. In terms of the on-site parking and the provincial legislation, if you could just clarify, it's actually the provinces prohibited the city from requiring on-site parking within transit-oriented areas. So if you could just comment on that.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct. As part of the Bill 47, Transit-Oriented Areas Bill that was introduced by the province in December of 2023, municipalities, local governments are prohibited from requiring residential parking to be provided as part of any project that happens to be within the 800 meters of a identified transit station area.
All right, and then just further to that, I know that this area has experienced some traffic disruptions as a result of the construction that has occurred to date, and if you could just comment on the city's requirements related to construction, parking, and management plans prior to the issuance of a building permit, should this proceed.
Thanks. Through the chair, as part of the building permit review, the applicant and their team will be required to provide the city with a construction and traffic parking management plan that is reviewed and approved by the city's transportation department and addresses the location, operating hours, etc., for any construction-related parking occurring in the area, as well as coordinating with adjacent development works as they also proceed. There are also restricted hours for construction operations to occur in the city, consistent with the city's noise bylaws.
All right, thank you for that. Evangel, I understand we have a couple members of the public that would wish to address the panel today.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have three wishing to speak today. The first one is Mr. Jose Gonzalez. It was noted from planning staff that he did submit a correspondence related to concerns regarding construction traffic. But he is first one up, and then we can proceed with the next speakers.
All right, welcome, Mr. Gonzalez.
Hello, I'm Jose Gonzalez of 8935 Cook Crescent, a long-term resident in the Spires Road area. Basically, I'm here because the development permit is the final opportunity for public input on this development. And quite candidly, the traffic management and parking plans that have been referenced have been failing for years and do not, in fact, effectively manage either resident access into the homes or emergency vehicle access to our neighborhood. And the coordination of access and road blockages across projects has not been working. So I want to send that message loud and clear. To provide some background, there are currently 5 major developments plus a water sewer project in progress in our neighborhood, all currently active. And these projects have been going on for years, on and off. It's a piecemeal development. It's very different than how most developments happen in the city of Richmond, where you either have one small development in an area or you have one very large developer that then coordinates everything. Our neighborhood is filled with patchwork development that causes all kinds of grief and is a mess. And there is no coordination at the city that is actually dealing with this. We have a few individuals at the city of Richmond who are really good and work hard to try to deal with issues as they pop up, but it's basically a whack-a-mole solution at this point in time. So as I've pointed out at previous development permit panel meetings and to several city staff, we've had issues that have prevented access with surprise road closures, and the reasons have ranged from road work to large delivery trucks bringing supplies, or cranes, or construction machinery being stationed in the roadway. At times, we've got signage up that says it's single vehicle access, and that single vehicle access is not maintained. It's actually blocked. The current water sewer construction on Cook Crescent and construction on the properties on Spires Road have shut down access to our house on one side of Cook Crescent. And that's been going on for quite a while, months, both for myself and anyone else trying to get in on that side. That's the west side of Cook Crescent, can't get in because of construction. So this development that's being proposed right now is going to block the other side. There's only 2 ways into Cook Crescent, and this is right at the T intersection. That's our only current way to get in. So my message is that this development permit panel should not be going ahead approving this until there is in fact an effective plan going forward that will ensure that emergency vehicles can access areas, and that the Richmond Fire Rescue Department has in fact approved that plan and feels that they can operate within that plan. Secondly, that resident access to our houses will be maintained. There are over 50 residences within our neighborhood. And thirdly, that coordination across projects, especially around road blockages, there's a clear responsibility of the city of Richmond, because right now it bounces between parking and transportation operations and bylaws. And although, again, you have some individuals that do heroic efforts and are really good, overall, there's no accountability and there's no teeth. And so these problems just happen, and it's up to the residents to scream every time. And I'm not talking about, access blockage for 5 minutes while some construction thing is being moved. I'm talking about 20 to 30 plus minutes where a vehicle sets up for delivery, puts down its supports on the side, and the crane starts moving heavy pieces of materials onto the work site. So that's my concerns and why I believe this development permit panel should not be moving forward with this development at this point in time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your comment. I'm sorry that you've had to endure what you've described along with your neighboring residents. I think in terms of action moving forward, Mr. B is part of the group that does look at those construction, parking, and management plans. I'm sure that we can do a better job. And Mr. B would you have any further comment to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly we hear Mr. Gonzalez, and we've heard some other complaints. Certainly there has been a lot of construction, and that is inconvenient. We do strive to make sure that there is access for residents. Sometimes it may not be as convenient as when there is no construction, but as the chair said, we can certainly strive to do better. And if Mr. Gonzalez has any specific issues or concerns, he can certainly contact me anytime.
All right. Thanks, Lloyd. And if I could just add that as part of the review of the construction, parking, and management plan for this, if we could also ensure there's coordination with our public works crews, given some of the infrastructure work that's occurring in the area.
No, absolutely. All of the construction is coordinated. I understand the concern about emergency vehicles. That is considered, and they are consulted as part of all these plans. And if it provides any further comfort, certainly when there are emergency vehicles, they are permitted through the construction zones if required.
All right. Thank you. Evangel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next speaker is Ms. Paige Robertson.
Hi, it's Paige Robertson. I live at 8571 Spires Road, longtime resident there. Most of what I was concerned about has been covered, mainly the parking. Where are people going to park? We are responsible for maintaining our boulevards, but it doesn't take long for them to get absolutely destroyed, and they never come back. So that's basically, I'm wondering if there'll be no parking signs in front of the residences or residents-only parking or something to that effect. And I noticed, I think I heard you say that there were 22 parking stalls being provided for this development. Just wondering, where do the other people park if they have vehicles? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In terms of the parking and management plan, I think you've got a commitment from Mr. B with respect to that. Lloyd, are you able to comment on what the steps would be, what steps a neighborhood may be able to take if they would like to pursue resident-only parking? And then, Josh, I'll just ask you again to comment on, unfortunately, the imposition by the province to prohibit us from requiring on-site parking.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Certainly my understanding is there's currently a residents-only parking program that is sponsored by the constructors right now, the developers. As far as I know, Mr. Gonzalez is the only applicant we've had to that program, but if you would like to find out more about it, or you can certainly contact me directly and I can set you up with whoever does that. And if we would like a longer-term, more permanent program, all it really takes is the residents in the area to want that, and staff can take that forward once we've done a petition throughout the neighborhood to determine that is what the neighborhood wants. We often take those things to council, and it's at council's discretion to implement it.
Thank you. Maybe, Evangel, if I could ask that you just obtain Ms. Robertson's contact information, and we can have somebody from the transportation department reach out to her regarding what Mr. B had just described.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have one final speaker, Mr. Donald Yoshihara.
Hello. Thanks for hearing me out here. I agree with Jose and the previous speaker, Ms. Robertson, but not providing more than 22 spaces for that many units, obviously there's going to be a problem with people parking all over the place. And I do think that maybe it's time to adopt resident-only parking or parking pass system or something like that. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of haywire all over the place. This piecemeal construction has been put the whole neighborhood in turmoil for the last 3 or 4 years. And quality of life, my daughter and her family live at my home at 8680 Spires Road, and it's directly west of the proposed development. And, you know, when it came down to like across the street, it's finished now, people are all moved in and whatnot. There was a few different issues from that development alone. There was a gas leak. I don't even know if you guys were aware of that from that developer. I was not informed, and I was at home or staying there at the time, and I was asleep, and nobody called or banged on my door or anything. So that was one concern. Also, the water main was broke open, flooded the yard, and luckily city stepped in and pumped it. Luckily, but either way, once they put in the new storm sewers across the street, I was under the impression I would be hooked up to that after the ditch was filled in, and it didn't happen. So it was just 2 catch basins, and it just doesn't even drain into anything, just into the ground, from what I know. And also, I've contacted Rav Baines. He owns 4J, or not 4J, I guess, whatever, the developer here. And as far as getting my catch basins connected to the whatever he's proposing there, no answer from him. So that's one of the reasons I came today, to make sure that you guys are aware. And okay, the last atmospheric river, as they call it, and Abbotsford flooded, the ditch that was there was filled right to the top. It was coming across the front lawn. And anyway, I was thinking, well, this is going to happen more and more in the future. And I don't have any pump or anything yet, but I'm almost thinking, is it time for me to get something built to alleviate any surface drainage? Because they're going to be, I would expect, above the grade at present. You know, I would think if they're going to go a foot, maybe 2 feet higher than they are now at the present grade. So that's why I want that to be on record of my concerns of that. So I did speak with Edwin Lee. He said it's engineered that it shouldn't be a problem, but I don't know. Somehow I question that kind of thing. And that's probably about my main concerns. Definitely my daughter and her family living there for the last couple of years, its quality of life is not good with constant this construction and whatnot. Now that you have this huge development right next door, you know, it's going to be obviously not good at all. And they won't get any sun into the yard, I wouldn't think, till about 11 a.m. because of the height of that big development. So either way, I just want to be heard that it's on record that these are my concerns. And I'm thinking if the catch basins could be connected to the storm sewer that's going to go in next door, then that would probably alleviate my concerns as far as drainage. Because I've seen drainage problems in Queensborough, Shelmont, and other places where the development started happening and there wasn't any real plans for the present homeowner to be warned or somehow have some kind of pump system for their own property. So, and that's about all I have to say about that. Thanks for hearing me.
Thank you for taking the time to address the panel today. In terms of the construction on site, they will be required to install new perimeter drainage around the site to ensure that there is no runoff directed to adjacent properties. I believe you mentioned that you've already been in contact with Edwin Lee of our planning department regarding this. What I will ask is that Edwin work with Mr. Fougere to ensure that you receive a response to your request and to see if there is a way through the servicing agreement associated with this development that there is whether there is any potential for you to connect to the storm sewer upgrades that will be installed as part of this project. In terms of the on-site parking, I will again ask that Mr. Lee provide you with the contact information for our transportation department and that resident permit parking program that Mr. B has referenced. Evangel, does that conclude the public delegations?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that concludes the speakers list for the chambers.
Any written correspondence? You did reference that Mr. Gonzalez had submitted some written correspondence. Was there anything additional in his correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair, it was submitted to Mr. Edwin Lee.
All right.
Mr. Chair, staff have responded to Mr. Gonzalez's email as well as provided the contact information that was requested as part of his delegation. The contents of his delegation were similar to what the content of his email.
All right, thank you for that. That brings us to panel deliberation. Maybe I'll kick this off with a bit of a comment. Obviously, I am empathetic to the experiences noted by our delegations today. I can assure you that in terms of the provincial legislation that imposes restrictions on the city, that is something that our city council has expressed severe concerns with the province about. Unfortunately, the city is a child of the province and we do have to abide by their laws. And it is the province that has prohibited us from providing any residential parking within any residential development that is within 800 meters of a transit station. I believe in this case we do have on-site parking and we have looked at an extensive transportation demand management package to try and encourage alternative modes of travel for the residents that would move into this building. Todd, Lloyd, any additional comments?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair.
Neither me.
Anyone willing to move the staff recommendation? We did have the one comment with direction to work with staff on an alternative play structure, avoiding the acoustical play structures. I believe it was Todd.
Correct.
I'll move it, Mr. Chair.
All right. All those in favor? Thank you. Again, I'll just say I do empathize with the residents in this area. I would say that Mr. Fougere, the architect for this project, is a very seasoned developer representative, and I'm sure he has taken note of your concerns and that the developer will be keeping area residents informed and abiding by the city's traffic construction and parking management plan.
Thank you.
That brings us to the last item on our agenda today. Any new business, Josh?
No new business, Mr. Chair. The next scheduled meeting of the Development Permit Panel is January 14th of 2026.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.